I would describe Ron Ball as the hardest working person I know, and I'm sure everybody else is going to say something to that effect. There's nobody who works harder or does what Ron does in terms of taking care of his dealers and his factories. He's also incredibly funny, and he is really the smartest person that I know. Now, most people let that accent fool them, and I'm here to tell you that the guy's always 3 steps ahead of everybody else. He has completely calculated what your response will be, and then he's going to have a response that's even better. So I'm telling you, do not let that North Carolina Hills accent fool you. And one thing I'm wondering is, will there be closed captioning for Ron for the northern half of the country? Because I think they're going to need that.
Well, hi, I'm Ron Ball, and I sell patio furniture.
Ron Ball? Hey, this is Ron Ball. That's what he says. Calls on the phone. Terry, this is Ron Ball.
Well, I've spent most of my career in the South, so I don't have an accent they do. You know, that's, I never have had a problem with that. If they didn't understand me, that was good. Part of selling is keeping people confused.
Well, to me, Ron Ball is a mentor to me. I first met him 15 years ago, and he has been a guide in the business, and he's a guy that always shares his opinion, whether I like to hear it or not, and he is right more times than I like to give him credit for.
Ron Ball is probably one of the most unique individuals that I've ever met. He is very, very honest. You don't ask Ron his opinion if you don't want the cold truth. There's not a lot of varnish with Ron, but he is respected because he does tell you the truth about whatever you ask him about, whether it's personal or business.
Hard-headed, blunt, straightforward, but I hope they describe me as being honest.
I think the greatest lesson I've ever learned from Ron Ball is say it how it is. Don't try to sugarcoat or tell somebody what they want to hear when it's not necessarily what the end result will be.
The one thing I will remember most from my association with Ron, I guess, is his just belief that people need to do the right thing, that they need to adjust with the times.
I've known him for 15 years, but he's been at this business for a long time. And I know that I can trust what he says, and that's why I like doing business with him.
I think Ron is probably a more caring individual. He has sometimes a very gruff exterior at times, and he'll bark at people, but he really cares about the people that he works with. He's concerned about them. He checks on people that he's worked with for years that are no longer associated with him in his current position, but he really cares more about the people that he works with sometimes than he lets on.
I would say the one thing that is not immediately obvious about Ron is that he is as soft as can be inside. He's a softie. He thinks he's tough, but we all know he's a softie.
I have learned a lot of lessons from Ron over the years, but I think the greatest one that he's taught me in sales is that to be great, you really have to persevere, and you really have to love what you're doing, and you have to put absolutely everything into it. Now, Ron Ball is the best salesman I have ever met, bar none. He is absolutely amazing.
One of the most favorite memories I have with working with Ron Ball is going down to Greenhouse Mall, which is one of our good accounts and one of his good accounts, and watching him teach the salespeople salesmanship. And all the salesmen were so eager to hear what he had to say, and he gives them some tidbits on salesmanship and, you know, customers' reactions and perceptions and that kind of thing. And then he doesn't leave it at that. He stays at the store for most of or the entire day, and he will get out on the floor with those salespeople and either observe or critique and give them pointers as to what they can do to, you know, maybe move things along quicker.
You know, I'll work from daylight till dark. I spend the weekend working with retail dealers when I'm on the road. That's when you get to know their salespeople, and that's the mark of a good rep is how well does he relate to the salespeople on the retail floor. If he calls only on the owners or buyers, he's not much of a rep.
He always tries to educate us on not only the product but salesmanship, and he's so good about teaching our people how to sell, not only to sell his product that he happens to be repping at the time, but to sell in general. And so seeing him work my sales staff and teach them how to sell, no matter whose product it is the probably the thing I appreciate about Ron the most.
Most important man in my life was my father. The greatest lesson he ever taught me was always be honest no matter what you were doing. My dad was a Baptist preacher. He was very blunt. He was a much better preacher than he was pastor. He wasn't the most compassionate fellow in the world, but he believed in being honest. He gave me my work ethic, and he was my hero, there's no question about it. I miss him dearly. My 2 sons, my 2 daughter-in-laws, and 4 grandchildren are definitely the most important people in my life. Without them, life would not be much.
I would like to say to Ron, congratulations. I know that it's a very, very well-deserved honor. I'm really glad that his family can be here to share it with him, and I'm really honored that we're here to share it with him. He deserves it.
He's very deserving, and in the years that I've known him, we've not always agreed, but I've always appreciated his opinion, and I think he's so very deserving of this Lifetime Achievement Award, and I'm really happy that he's being honored so.
There is no one that we do business with that I sincerely believe cares more about our business than Ron Ball. He does everything he can for us, and he's been such a great friend in our industry to us. He's been such a great support. You know, whenever we have a problem, we know we can call him. When we, have something we want to share, some good news, we call him. And, it's just great to have someone like that in your life that's willing to, just put the friendship out there and help you no matter what. And I just want to say thank you, Ron.
It doesn't make any difference to me how I'm remembered, as long as on Judgment Day, the Lord says, good job. That's all that matters.